What is going on, everybody? It is Big L here, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We are doing our first in a series of WPF coach interviews. And today, for our first one, this could be pretty fun. This could be an absolute train wreck, or it could be good content. We'll see what happens. Today, we are bringing you the Season 7 Magikarp League champion, the one, the only coach of the Chennai, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Chennai Chandelures, TRT77. Go ahead and say hello.
What's up, guys? I really appreciate you having me on, bro.
Hey, no problem. Like I said, I was hoping to, like, even if you didn't win, you were one of the people I was going to reach out to about doing one of these because I like your content. I think, I think I told you after your first video, like, it's
Yeah,
obvious that you knew what you were talking about. It's like
I
you know
really
your stuff.
appreciate that. I really
So
appreciate that. I'm not gonna lie, when I made like my first video, you were like, I think the first person to send me a DM saying, you know what, keep this going. This is pretty good. And I was like, wow, that was a lot of encouragement for me back then.
well, like one thing that I see like a lot of people do whenever they first start out was like a lot of people like tend to like talk really fast because they're I think it's because they're nervous and like it's obvious like I think I do it like it's obvious they're just trying to struggle to say stuff but like you didn't do that so like I don't know I felt like you had potential to make really good content. I like it and I was like this guy's like I wanted to encourage you to like hey I enjoyed it because that's when you're starting out that's something that's like a
Oh
huge
yeah.
morale boost. So
Yeah, it really was. I really appreciate it, bro. That was like at a time when I was really unsure of everything too, and also I'm like technologically defunct. Like it took me so long to figure out
same
everything with
here.
OBS and editing and stuff. It was like, yeah.
Like I was probably driving Big Shane insane because I was asking him like all the time, like, so how do I do this? How do I do this? But let's go ahead and hop into the questions. I've got 7. So
All
hopefully
right.
none of them are too deep. I don't know. It's like I think the first few are just basic questions, and then we got a couple that are more like WPF centric. So
Yeah.
we'll get to question number 1, which is the 3-part question. What was your first Pokemon game? What was the last Pokemon game you played? And what is your favorite all-time Pokemon game? That doesn't mean main series only. Like if your favorite Pokemon game is, one of the mystery dungeons, you can say that. Or like if it's a ROM hack, you know, you could say that. So go ahead.
So my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Crystal. I that's it's such a throwback now because like after kids I talk to like they're like starting out with Diamond and Pearl, which is why there's so much DPP nostalgia. But like for me, like starting out Pokemon Crystal, it's still just such a banger. When it came out on VC, like oh my god, we just reached Goldenrod and that theme just is such a banger. Oh my god, the
Yeah.
amount of nostalgia I had with that. The last Pokemon game I played was Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I actually quite enjoyed it because I didn't play Sun and Moon because everyone told me if you played Sun and Moon, that was probably the worst experience of your life. But Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon was actually pretty good for me. It was like, I guess it was more like the complete game and having like going through that the first go around versus doing Sun and Moon and then doing a rehash of it probably was worse for a lot of people.
Yeah.
My favorite game, I'd say, like obviously, my favorite game is gonna be Crystal because it was my first game. But objectively, I think the best game in the series is probably Black and White 2 for me
Yeah. Yeah.
personally, because I think like that was the pinnacle of Pokemon for me. Like, whether it was story wise, whether it was gameplay wise, whether it was like Easter eggs and all the stuff you could do in the game, mons you could catch, and just how it was designed. The fact that they literally ripped the DS to the absolute max that it could run in that game, like what people don't talk about this, but like water graphics and like Jellicent showing up on Gen 5, that stuff was tough for them to do on the DS.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you say Crystal because like I think it was Pardis who said in chat or in maybe it was in one of the episodes of the podcast where like, he said his first game was X and Y,
Oh my god.
which is insane to me. Like it is absolutely insane to me. But yeah, I think I agree. I think objectively, probably the best overall Pokemon game is probably of the main series, especially, is probably Black 2 White 2. Like it's pretty fantastic, and like you said, they did like the graphics on like the standard DS for those games was fantastic.
Ah,
But
absolutely.
okay, so let's move on to question number 2. How did you get into Draft League?
Sorry, I didn't get that. How did I get into
Draft League.
Draft League? I was just like legit scrolling YouTube, and then I came across Pokemon 7 John. He's one of the GBA OGs, and then from him I found like a couple of other guys. I found General Tahil, Ben, and I found Under the Radar Kelly, and then I was just like, you know what? I just started watching that Draft League games. Initially, I was like, I had no idea what was going on because it was like
Mm-hmm.
obviously the first time you see it, you have no idea when they're talking about stealth rocks, and you're just like, I never used that when I played PPP, and but it really caught on. I really liked the format, and like I guess it was around like GBA season 5, 4, something like that. Like, it was like the season after Dan left. I think it was like where George won, and I like after that slowly. I initially I didn't have the time to get into draft leagues, like even though I knew of it, and then I was just like in servers, but just like helping people or something. I was not really like playing because I just didn't have the time to play weekly games. And eventually, when I found time, I started playing around, I want to say, 2019, and it's been good since then. The thing is, I don't over encumber myself with leagues. Like, I do
Right.
between 1 and 3 at a max each time, which just makes it easier for me.
Yeah, I think the most I've ever done at a time is 2. Like I just if you're working full time or going to school full
Yeah,
time, and
it's
it's hard.
it's
It's
so
hard to find
hard.
time. Now that I like you get older, like now I'm married, so like I want to find time to spend with the wife and stuff like that. So yeah, it's hard to do more than 2 leagues for me. Like I don't have time right now to do more than one. Like I've been really intrigued. I thought about signing up for Bucks's league that they just
Hmm.
started drafting today, but like I was like man, like I just don't have time. Like once the WPF starts back up, I'm not gonna have time for both leagues. And like I've been around WPF for a while, and I'm like that's the league I want to focus on. So I'm like I don't want to have to, you know, split time. But
Oh,
that's cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, like finding. I think a lot of people probably got into draft league by finding the GBA back in the
Yeah,
day. Like that
yeah.
was that like the original like big YouTuber league
I
back
think it was like the
then?
original league because, like, if I remember correctly, Steve Magnitude found the format.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, and like then he founded the GBA right after that, and then it took off from there.
And now the GBA is dead.
I
But
mean, I feel like that's kind of the thing with draft leagues. Every league has a certain course it runs, and especially when the league that big, it was always going to happen at some stage.
yeah, I mean, and now we have the WBE. So, but
Oh,
moving on
yeah.
to question number 3. Aside from draft league, how long have you been playing Pokemon competitively?
I aside from draft league, I played like ladder for like 6 months before I started playing draft leagues. I did play ladder in Gen 6 for a while, but I just got so frustrated with Talonflame. I was like, this thing can go to hell. And I just quit playing ladder at some point in Gen 6. And then like I came back like towards mid Sun and Moon. And then we had Zygarde.
Yeah,
With Zygarde to deal with in Newsome, and it was like such a pain. But it was like by the time the ban came, I guess I don't know. I in Gen 7 the reason I liked laddering was because Gen 7 RU was such a fluid meta, and
yeah,
even UU was such a good meta because it was just such a fluid meta. You couldn't use the same team you used in October, Jan. Like those 4 months, the meta just shifted so much, and I feel like Gen 8, I just haven't had the time nor the motivation to ladder as much.
yeah.
But and I've never been into VGC, so I'm not sure exactly how to go about doubles games.
See, I prefer VGC personally. Like, I've barely spent any time laddering, like in singles. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, competitive Pokemon, I started whenever uh, I got into VGC back in like Gen 6 a little bit. Like, that was whenever like I discovered Showdown and started playing on
Hmm.
Showdown. I was like, oh, this is awesome. You can make perfect Pokemon right immediately. Like, how the hell is this the thing? This is awesome. It's like, but I don't know. Like, it was that's like I've barely spent any time on like OU ladder. I think I think I laddered a couple times. A couple years ago, I laddered a little bit, and I played in the big Smogon OU tournament, and just got mollywopped by Finchinator round 2. So that was fun. But yeah, I haven't really experienced like RU, UU, anything like that. Like I've heard like really good things about the lower tiers like RU and UU, but I haven't messed with them very much. So moving on to question 4. This is more draft centric. What is your favorite low tier, and I'm classifying 4 or 5, tier 4 or tier 5 Pokemon to use in Draft League?
Lantern, hands down. It's not even close. Like for me, it's like almost every team I've had like success on, and I've had a pretty decent amount of success. But like Lantern has just been like such a good mon for me. It's like I've run it every single way you can possibly abuse that mon in draft. Like Spidef, defensive. Um, I ran a soak set in a playoff game once to counter a Dragalge because it killed adaptability and let me volt switch on it.
Oh wow.
Like it, it's and then I ran like choice scarf in BDL finals, and then I ran like I before I had the choice scarf set, I had like an agility life orb set in the back. But like it's just such a good typing and such a good mon. Like even though it doesn't get recovery, which and like the thing is with that 125 defense stat, sorry HP stat, like people kind of just overlook the fact that when they look at the mon they say 58 defense, but it really does take hits, and like
Wait,
it's such a good bird spam answer.
wait,
And
doesn't it
being
get
like,
Aqua Ring? So it does have recovery.
oh yes, of course, yeah, I should. That's actually true. I should probably run an aqua ring set at some point just to emphasize like using all of Lantern's move pool. But yeah, it is. I think it's like it is definitely like probably my favorite low tier in the draft format, just because it's so versatile. It's a bulky mon that can pivot, and it's got that weird speed. It's got that Corviknight speed tier where it's like 67.
Yeah.
It's just fast enough where you don't have to invest to outspeed other walls. You're always outspeeding stuff like Vaporeon, like Weezing Gala. Those are things that are not like they have to creep you. You don't have to creep them, and that's very useful for me, I feel.
Yeah, I used Lantern once in a league before the WPF, and I made a guy quit the league. Like I think I did. I can't say that because he had he had Laddie with one of his Z captains, and I switched Lantern in on a Z Thunder, and
Oh
I was
my
running Volt Absorb.
god.
He got
Oh,
so mad. He left the game, forfeited the game, and then left the server.
oh my
I'm
god.
like, oh, sorry, dude. But yeah, Lantern's fantastic. Lantern's a really good low tier mon. But next, this is I think a more WPF centric question if I remember right. Yep. Okay, so when you joined the WPF as a backup coach, you took over a team that was 0-3. Did
Yeah.
you think when you took over that you had a chance to win the league?
No.
No.
I didn't even know. First and foremost, I didn't even know it was 12 weeks. I thought it was 9 weeks, and I was like, oh god, I'm gonna have to like win out to make playoffs. And then I found out it was 12 weeks like the second week when I played the game against Brownie, because I was like, hey, because I remember I forgot to update the doc part, like the schedule part, and then Shane just hit me up with a video, and he was like, "Sorry, I forgot to send you this." And I was like, "Okay." I looked at the doc video, and then I was like, I went to the doc, and I was like, "Oh wait, it's 12 weeks. I can actually like easily make playoffs, so I just win like 7 games." And it was like, and honestly, I when I took over the team, I saw Shifu single, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have fun with this. But like when I took over the team had it needed massive reconstruction. Like having Urshifu and having like Magneton as your Moonblast switch in was not something I wanted. And like it was like Urshifu balance when I took over the team. It had like Clef, it had like Suicune, which great mons, but I just did not want to play balance. And especially because I at the time when I took over the team, I was like, you know what, this is probably just gonna be a fun run. Like it is like I like the community. I wanted to take over because I really like enjoyed being in WPF and talking to the guys, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have fun with this. So I went with Melmetal, I went with Nidoqueen, I got added Slowbro Mega because God, I'm not using Mega Obama, and yeah, no. And it's sort of clicked. Talonflame. I didn't bring Ditto to a single game, which I feel bad about, but I just couldn't like fit it onto a 6. But Yeah,
Be-
like when I took over the team, I wasn't thinking about winning a championship at the time. I was more thinking about first. I was like, let's get to 500. That's the first goal because we're starting in
mhm.
0-3. We don't know how good the competition is, or like, and then then the guy who I played week 4 or 5 dropped like when I was scheduling, or he got kicked. I'm not sure, because he like forfeited 2 games in a row or something. And then Brownie took over, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy is gonna be my second game. Like seriously, like I think like playing Brownie each time is like it's super wildcardy because he's a really good player, but it depends on if you hacks him or not. But so it's like when he was my second game, I was like, geez, okay, I just need to make it to 500. That was like my first thought, was just make it to 500, and we'll see from there.
Yeah, but yeah. So I loved the changes you made. I think I might have told you that whenever you took over. I was excited to see you took over because like I'd been watching your content and I was like, this guy knows how to play. Like this guy's good. So like, I'm excited to see how he does. And you kind of just destroyed the entire carp division. Like that's kind of what happened. But next question, I don't remember exactly what it is. Oh, how do you think the talent in the WPF compares to other leagues that you're in or have been in?
Um, I think it depends on the division. I think the carp division is maybe a little bit top heavy because it comes down to like
Yes.
3 4 guys. Like for example, like when I was going to like scout Grubbins for the finals, because we didn't have a regular season game, and like I don't think he even played the guy who I took over for. So um when I went to scout Grubbins for the finals game, like I was looking through his games, and Jesus Christ, my guy literally dropped one differential the whole season. That's all he dropped the whole season. Only one game he lost, and that was an 0-1. And like, and then there's also Cherry who went on an insane winning streak, and like, my God, Cherry just kind of ripped people apart with Jirachi. Like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
he
And
did.
then like Brownie's always been like consistent. Like I've known him for so many leagues. Like he's very consistent that way. Um, there's also some like Kraft was also doing quite well. There was quite a few teams that did well. There's a few teams that fell off a little bit. I think the British Blazikins I think was one of the teams which like started like 4-0 and just kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah. You have
Um,
that. You have that in leagues.
yeah, that definitely happens. And then you also have like Caden. Caden played really well. Like he finished. I think he finished with a better record than me at 8-4. But like, so I feel like Carp Division has talent, but it's a little bit more on the top heavy side, a little bit
Yeah, it
because
is.
like the people who are losing games by a lot, and it's not exactly like it's not something that's gonna change overnight. Probably take a couple of seasons for people to improve.
Yeah.
The Gyara division, I'm not gonna say that. Like I think there's quite a few coaches in the Gyara division I think who are really good.
Hmm.
But it's like I remember we were talking about this, and they were also discussing this on the podcast, the last podcast that Big Chain did, which was how do you promote and demote people? And I just actually have no idea because I feel like,
Yeah.
uh, to an extent, like there is an element of having a bad season. There's an element of your schedule just being worse with matchups, especially if you have someone in your division who you end up playing twice. Like you have someone in your division who has who's a bad matchup for you, and suddenly you're
Hmm.
playing them twice, and then suddenly essentially like you either take 2 L's or you show them your best team before you go to playoffs, and it's always going to be like it's always going to be that cat and mouse game a little bit. So I wouldn't say like it's very clear cut. Like the Gyarados division's a lot more cannibalistic than Carp. It's like anyone can beat anyone, and
Yeah.
that's something you just definitely notice in the games. Um, Although the playoffs did get a little bit hacksy, like that's definitely
God,
oh god,
that
watching Big
that
Shane's
dual
game,
wing
I
beat
felt
miss.
pain. I
Oh
felt
no, he
pain.
was. Oh, I felt so bad because like I had been like obviously like I lost to ASDF the week before that, and like
Yeah.
me and Shane
Oh
talked,
no.
and like he and he was
Yeah.
like talking to me about like what he was gonna do, and like he's like showed me his pace, and like I thought his team had a really good chance like going in, and like
Yeah.
ASDF going back to like midway through the regular season had just been destroying everybody.
Oh yeah,
And
he's had a
so,
great season. Like he
oh
played
yeah,
really well all season.
yeah, he did. He's one of the, like, even in Gyarados League, which is a really deep league. Like, he's one of the better battlers in the league, like overall. Like, and his team was fantastic. Dropping Diancie and picking up Galarian Weezing was huge for him.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Galarian Weezing was so hard to break. Like, he played it so well. But yeah, that dual wing beat miss. that was that was
Like
that
no
was a
no
rough one.
disrespect to ASDF at all, but like geez, watching that was pain. Watching that was pain because I've had the same sort of shit happen to me before, and I was like, that moment, your heart just kind of
Right.
sinks for him as well. It's just, uh, yeah.
But moving on, this is the last question. What motivated you to start making content for YouTube?
This is gonna sound really funny, but it was actually a dare.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was kind of like an offhanded dare. I don't know I forget who it was. I'll be honest with you, but like someone dared me to just do like a draft analysis for BDL, and I was like, you know what? I had like 3 free days. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna make some slides. They're gonna be the most jank generic slides with like I had to like at that point I was just like looking for just PNGs to stick on white slides with white backgrounds and Pokemon stats and just talk about the Pokemon for 15 minutes. And like after I did that, it was like I just thought, you know what? Why don't I just keep uploading? And then Critic, who's also on the WPF server, he joined midway through, but then he left for like basic training. Um,
Hmm.
he started making me layouts and he started making me thumbnails, and he was like, you know what, you're gonna keep doing this. And he did that for like the first few weeks, and like I was like, you know what, okay, I'm just gonna keep pushing through this. And this, like, initially it was kind of like a bit of monotone, and it was like, the growing pains and learning how to
Right.
like put like in the background music or something like that. Just like learning how to do that stuff was a little bit of growing pains, but like the whole thing started on a dare, which is kind of hilarious.
That's pretty funny though. Like you never know. Like you never know how you're gonna find like a new hobby that you really enjoy doing, and like I don't know, it's pretty cool. I wish I had a fun little story about why I started doing it. It was just sort of like, could be fun. Let's try it. And, it just kind of kept going. But no, I think your content's good. I like your content. I'm interested to see how far you're able to go, because I think if you keep growing, I keep getting better, keep growing as a channel. I think you could actually be a pretty decent sized channel if you keep going. Like I don't know.
I
It
appreciate
seems to me
that,
like
bro.
you have the knowledge and you're a good enough player that I feel like you could do it. Like I feel like there's bigger channels out there that either aren't as knowledgeable or as good as you are probably. I mean, I could just be talking because like I know you a little bit. But I don't know. I could be a little bit biased, but I don't know. I think you make good content. That's just my
I
opinion.
appreciate that, bro. Like, I don't know, I'm just gonna see how it goes. I'm just gonna go with the flow. It's like I just
Right.
enjoy it overall. Like, it's nice, especially when I'm like editing. I just like that period of silence because it just gives me a break from everything.
Absolutely. It's always funny whenever you tell people like, oh yeah, I started uploading on YouTube. They're like, oh, you're trying to make it as a big YouTuber. It's like, no, I'm just doing it. It's fun. Like, I don't care. Like, I have videos that I've posted have like 4 views. It's like I don't care. Like, it's not that big a deal. Like, it's fun. I have fun doing it. So it's like,
Yeah,
who cares? Like, I'm not trying to make it a career.
it's such a good outlet, isn't it? It just feels
Yeah, it
like
is.
sometimes it's like it's a good creative outlet.
Absolutely. But those are the only 7 questions that I had. Um, I didn't want this to go too long. This actually went a little bit longer than I was planning. I thought it'd take like 15 minutes or so. But I think we're going to end it there. Is there anything you want to add? Anything that you want? I'll link to your channel down below, obviously. But is there anything you want to say or add or
uh,
anything like that?
Not much, bro. I really appreciate you having me on, though. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to the
absolutely.
rest of the series for sure.
I have some pretty cool stuff lined up. Like there's a lot of coaches lined up. I don't really have an order. I was hoping to do the 2 champions first, but I DM'd ASDF and he never DM'd me back. So I don't think that's gonna work out. But we got you, and you were actually one of the people, like I said at the beginning, like even if you didn't win, I was still gonna be like, hey, I want to do this. Like I think like one of the people I reached out to was like I reached out to Cherry. Like I think
Oh,
he'll
that
be an
would be
entertaining interview.
amazing.
And then there's a couple other people, like several people reached out, like people that I expected to reach out, like people like Lucky and T4U and Shane, like they all reached out. But yeah, I was really excited. Cherry was one of the people that didn't reach out, and he was like, "Oh, I was hoping you'd say something to me whenever I DM'd him about it." So he'll be fun. He'll be a fun interview, I think. But
Oh yeah, definitely.
but I think this is where we're gonna wrap it up. We're a little over 25 minutes already. So,
Oh my
but
god.
if you guys made it through all of this, thanks for watching. If somehow you are subscribed to me but not subscribed to TRT, uh, go down and I'll have a link down there to his channel. So go ahead and give him a follow. He makes good content, makes a lot better content than I make, and he's better than me. So always good to follow Pokemon YouTubers who are better than me. So all right, so take it easy. That'll do it for me today. We will catch you guys later. Have a good one.